Hey everyone, I'm Axel and I've come to bargain, to give my feedback in regards to Nioh 3 after its release. Of course this is very subjective and you might not agree with everything I say. With that said, let's start with what is most likely the most controversial topic. The early game and tutorial. This is the part that I've come to have the biggest issues with. Early game is extremely limiting and sluggish to go through. Even when it comes to new games I try, I really dislike the feeling of being shackled like this and forced into a tutorial. I think all tutorials should be completely optional for the player. I personally like to experiment and figure out things on my own. And then if I feel lost at some point, I can always just check for any of those tutorials I skipped because they were annoying. Being locked to mid-stands at the start of the game feels especially bad, considering how we have to face our brother, for example, who can constantly block. Of course, you can also just jump attack to circumvent this a bit, but it doesn't solve the problem. There is also the fact about having limited options when it comes to the weapons, only being able to unlock the other weapons later on, which is a first in the series, and I view this as something especially negative. This also includes the inability of having level 1 weapons for every single weapon, which I know a lot of people, myself included, do want to mess around with. Let's not forget about those forced slow walk and standing still sections because an NPC is talking or something. This problem is not just about people starting the game for the first time. This also happens every single time you start a new game, meaning this hurts replayability as I see it. I'm sure most people won't do this, but some players, myself included, like to play the game from the start so we can get a brand new experience playing in a different way. Like for example, using only one weapon type the whole game. This is also important when it comes to challenge runs and speedruns. As is right now, the game is just not that appealing to replay compared to the previous Nioh entries, due to this early game. Of course, I understand this is in order to ease up the introduction of the game for new players who are not used to experimenting and figuring out things on their own. So, how can we solve this problem? There are many different possibilities, but I consider two main branches. Possibility number 1. Add the option to remove forced tutorials and tutorial pop-ups, plus skipping the tutorialized parts of the intro, maybe asking the player a question at the start of the game about how they want to approach the game, for example. Adding all stances to the beginning of the game as samurai and all weapon types for both the styles, if they choose to. This way people can choose between having the start of the game and the tutorials as is, or go with a better flowing experience, for veterans and new players who like to be left on their own devices. Option number 2. Add a game mode or option that would be essentially the same as regular new game, but the game would recognize that the player has already beaten the game and that this player doesn't need a slow introduction to it. This would skip all forced tutorials and pop-ups. That would still be added to the tutorials menu just in case. We would also have all stances unlocked, maybe even Flux 1, and also unlock Guardian Spirit skill counter from the start, plus removing the dojo limitations for frost moons and weapon slots. We could name this several ways. Any ideas? Let me know down in the comments. I believe that by implementing one of these two main ideas, or both, we could solve this issue for players who dislike it, while at the same time not changing the experience for those who want it to stay as is. Let's go with the next topic. Boss Rush mode. I believe adding a boss rush mode to the game after we beat it would be a great and very welcome addition to the game. In this mode we could fight all the story bosses in order without limitations from the start. On each boss we defeat, we would obtain Amrita, Samurai points, Ninja points, and gold, in order to level up, acquire martial arts, and buy items and equipment as we progress through this game mode. Next topic, hat customization. While I'm not saying that this hat is bad, I really became very accustomed to how the hat looked like in Nioh 1 and 2. Could we please have a hat customization option to change the position and color of the player status? Meaning HP, Ki, Spirit Force and so on, so we can customize it to our liking by, for example, making it more similar to how it looked like in Nioh 2. Next topic, character customization. I would like to be able to have the possibility of having a character that is, for example, a male in samurai style and a female in ninja style. I know I'm not the only one interested in this, so it would be greatly appreciated. Continuing on with the topic of character customization, while I think this character creator is really good, I do miss the options of having much longer hairstyles like some enemies and NPCs have in this game, along with more accessory options as well, like earrings, pendants, headbands, etc. The more the better. I think everyone would love to be able to customize their character further and have more possibilities to pick from. On a similar topic, refashioning. Currently, our refashion is split in ninja style and samurai style. Please make us able to refashion our character regardless of the style. This would make for more interesting outfit combinations. Speaking of outfits, I feel like there's a lack in outfit variety in the game right now. Could we please get more outfits, returning ones like the Sohaya Deserter set, Yatagarasu set, etc. Or even new ones, like the outfit that Ibaraki Doji has. I like to also see the Omnio Hunting Garb pants to be back as it was before. In Nioh 3 it looks a bit plain in comparison to Nioh 2. Moving on to another topic, Geld sprinting changes the behavior of the character in not always beneficial ways, like sheathing the weapon. I would like to have an option to disable it, or at least make it so it behaves basically as a faster sprint, and it doesn't sheath the weapon. Next topic. On the ninja style, while the ninja sword, tonfa and talons have consistent dashes and behave in a similar way to low stance evasion on samurai style, Kusarigama dual ninja swords, split staff and hatchets behave in a similar way to mid stance evasion on samurai style. I like this behavior to be consistent throughout the ninja style weapons, since ninja specializes in speed and evasion. Let's talk about combat. While in most weapons we can do an evasion attack or a sprinting attack into a follow-up martial art, not all weapons seem to have this. For example, dual swords doesn't have it. And Odachi can do evasion strong attack into follow-up skill, but many of the other weapons can't. Please address this so all weapons are capable of this. This mechanic is a great improvement from the previous Nioh games. Continuing with the topic of combat, regarding martial arts, the ability to reset samurai and ninja points at any moment is a really good addition, but I would like to see an option to reset a single martial art instead of resetting the whole tree at once. With triangle, for example, since it doesn't have any function in this menu. This would ease up the process of trying out different martial arts. And speaking of martial arts, in order to fix the issue with the fact that we have several martial arts within the same weapon that have the same input for a particular martial art, I would like to see an option to change this input manually to a different one. For example, being able to change block plus quick into block plus strong and vice versa, or quick into strong changed to strong into quick. This is especially important when it comes to ninja style weapons, since they don't have the stance separation and they have a lot more colliding inputs. While in the topic of combat and weapons, there is an issue with the balance between samurai and ninja style. Currently, ninja style is outshining samurai style by a big margin when it comes to damage. This is especially worrying since even though samurai style is more complex, using this extra complexity is not resulting in doing more or even equal damage to ninja. In my testing, a level 5 ninja sword did more damage and key damage than a level 57 spear, which is ridiculous. Please address this so the players do not actively handicap themselves by playing samurai style. Let's talk about weapon display. In Nioh 2 we could hide our secondary weapon and show our main one. This isn't possible in Nioh 3 at the moment. We can only show or hide sheathed weapons. Please add the ability to hide secondary weapon only. In regards to menuing, currently we are unable to exit the menu immediately by pressing options, and we are forced to go back by pressing circle multiple times instead. This wasn't like this in Nioh 1 and 2, and it worked perfectly. Please bring back this feature. Still on the topic of menuing, currently we are unable to open the menu when interacting with doors and other things. This worked in Nioh 1 and 2, please bring back this feature. Next topic, online and offline modes. While we can toggle online mode when we are offline, there is currently no option to toggle offline mode when we are online. Please add this feature so we don't have to manually go offline from our platforms, be it Steam, or PlayStation 5. Let's talk about the map. When an NPC has a myth available, the icon that appears on the map is a dim gray color. I happened to miss a few ones during most of my playthrough due to this dim gray color and then being on top of a castle on the map, which is also gray. Please increase the visibility of these myths. Still on the map, sometimes the map will show you the position of items or Kodama that you can get before triggering a myth or winning a specific mission. Please fix this so it is more clear whether we can or not currently interact with them. In regards to samurai and ninja points, currently, as far as I know, there is no way to get more samurai or ninja points after you fully explore the game. I'd like to have an ability to gain more points via weapon proficiency, for example, so we can unlock all the skills and we don't have to juggle between them anymore. Moving on to another topic, in regards to human bosses, some of the human bosses have hyper armor besides them being very fast and powerful. I believe them being able to flinch is an important part of balancing those bosses. Please address this so we can interact with them more actively when fighting. Now, for the last piece of feedback, this is something that basically the whole community wants. As far as I know, everyone in the community, in the Nioh community, wants this. And at the same time, it is the thing that will take the most amount of work. And I think personally, if it were to actually happen, it would happen with the DLCs. And even then, I'm not sure if it's ever gonna happen, but either way, I'm gonna voice it. If it happens, it happens, and that would be great. But if it doesn't, I kinda expected that to be a result as well. Of course, I'm talking about bringing back all the weapons on samurai style especially, and then also on ninja style. So we have all the weapons from Nioh 2 with all 3 stances, and then also a ninja version of them. That would be kusarigama, hatchets, tonfa, and split staff on samurai style, axe, a spear, switch glaive, and odachi on ninja style. Personally, I just want the samurai ones, but of course, it wouldn't be fair to only put it on one side of the equation. At the same time, yeah, this would suppose a huge amount of work, but it is what the community wants. Like if anyone watching this doesn't want this, then let me know. But I think everyone wants this. And before I go, I want to express this other thing that the community is also saying, and I'm also saying, which is we want this Chijiko plushies, man. Like merchandising wise, like Chijiko plushies would go hard, and a rerun of his campuses, that would be amazing. I think. I don't know. I think a lot of people in the community would be very happy about this being a thing. I think Nioh 3 has been a huge success. I'm very happy about that. And yeah, with this video, I just want to express what I think could be improved, what I think might be important to address in order to have the best experience for the players. And when we think about Nioh 3, we cannot really think about any big thing that is like, this thing, I don't like that. It's like, bro, like everything is amazing. And like I've never given a game a 10 out of 10. But some of these things were addressed, especially the first one and some others. Yeah, it wouldn't be crazy to call it a 10 out of 10. Let's hope that Nioh 3 becomes the best possible version of itself, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.